Welcome back to Pasa, Nashville. As we're doing our traditional annual holiday special show, we're talking about Colombia. And my guest is Marcela Gomez with Hispanic Marketing Group, who's originally a native of Colombia. And we were talking about the beauty of Colombia, the culture, the people, the exporting, importing, but we're talking about the traditions of Christmas.
Yes.
And you had mentioned that the Nativity Scene, it plays a huge role.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so obviously, it is our way of telling the story of Jesus being born, and it's a huge deal. And I remember growing up, and with my abuela, with my grandmother, we would build the manger at her house. And so, but it was a big event, right? So it's a huge area in the living room. You transform everything to create the entire city, the entire town of Bethlehem. So it was not, this is just a very small representation of the Nativity Scene, but we would have the lakes. Either we would take a mirror and you put there the lakes and you put the little ducks, or you take aluminum foil and you create that. And then so you also have the Los Reyes Magos, you also have the wise men that are coming, so you put them far away.
And the stars far away.
Correct, to signify that they're coming and they'll be here on January 6th. So it was just huge for us to do that. And then you would visit different houses that would have like entire rooms that was just a manger. And then you would also have the live nativity scenes. And I remember one time my grandmother named me as the Virgin Mary when I was 9 years old. So I had to do the live nativity scene at their Catholic church, which
and
was
you know
fun.
what? And in a way, being from New Mexico, my abuela, we called her Mama Nina, she would have the whole town.
Yeah.
And we would bring the light closer, and every time we'd bring the three wise men closer to Jesus. And we wouldn't have Jesus in the...
Yeah, no, Jesus is not in the manger. No,
a little bit of similarities, but it was true. Now, did you have something called Los Pastores? I mean,
yes, absolutely.
The play of the
shepherds. Yeah, of course, because the shepherds are the first ones who saw the Star of David, right, announcing that Jesus was going to be born. So yeah, you set up the entire manger. You set the shepherds and the sheep, and then also the ladies who are selling in the town, and then like you said, the wise men. And you're right. Every single day we would move them a step closer to the manger, so that we would know that they, it's almost there. It's almost time. And Jesus is not. We don't place Jesus there until Nochebuena or Christmas Eve.
So we were talking earlier about Los Novenas, which 9 days prior to Nochebuena, which is Christmas Eve, and so you have parties, family. And I think what I loved about growing up in Mexico when we were there for the holidays, it was family. It was all night. It was drinking and food and just storytelling, but it's familia.
Yes.
So as you process to Noche Buena, how do you guys celebrate? Do you guys go to Mass on Noche Buena?
Yes.
Do you go on
the tradition is that, the Christmas, we celebrate Christmas Eve.
Okay.
So Noche Buena, right? So we get together usually around 8 o'clock at night at whoever house. Usually it's your abuela's house, your grandmother's house. You get there, you bring some of the presents. Obviously the kids believe that those presents are not the ones that Jesus is bringing to you. So we believe that it's Jesus who brings the presents, right?
Correct.
And so but they don't show them to you because he hasn't been born yet.
Correct.
And so we get there, you have a little bit to eat, and then of course you have the other novena as well, where then you sing and you read again from the book of the novenas, just to again, that's the night that Jesus is going to be born. And then in my family, what they would do is that they would send us outside like around 11:30 at night, and we would go outside and play, or we would watch the adults do the fireworks.
Yes, fireworks is a big deal.
Fireworks is a huge deal in Colombia.
And why is that?
I don't know. I think it's just a representation of of just fun and just you're celebrating something big, and so you would go outside and they would do the fireworks, and then around 12:01 the mothers would yell out, Jesus was born. And so you would know that that the gifts were there. So you run back. And so we celebrate Christmas Eve and we open the gifts that night. And so you asked me about the traditions with my son. Obviously, that was my main tradition, and that's what I taught him. But when we were living here, then I had to incorporate Christmas morning as well,
and had to from Santa.
and had to incorporate the stocking. We don't have the stocking in Colombia, and so I had to tweak it. And so it would be fun for him because we would celebrate both Christmas Eve and then Christmas morning.
Now, do you do de los Reyes?
Dia de los Reyes, January 6th. Yes, we celebrate it as a holiday, but in Colombia, in general, it is not another day that we give gifts. Okay. I know that in Mexico and in Puerto Rico and in Spain, they bring another gift that day, or that's the day that you receive all the gifts. In Colombia is another holiday, and we may get together as family again. but it's not the day that we give all the gifts.
And so, okay, so what is the one thing you miss more than anything being in Nashville, if you go back, which you can bring here from Colombia?
The one thing I miss the most is the fact that the party is not over at midnight.
It don't start till 10 o'clock.
Exactly. And so that, you know, you, even if you're, you know, 5-10 years old, you're up with your parents and your grandparents until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and you're celebrating the entire time. And so that's, you know, here when all of a sudden it's like, okay, 12:10, okay, good night.
Yeah.
It just feels like something's missing from the whole celebration.
And I think the key was that it was all family.
Yeah.
We're so segmented now with a lot of extended families not around, that we're at someone else's house. But I think that was, I would say that was a good one, because I remember being young, staying up late, and the time didn't matter.
It didn't
was
matter.
the family and
no,
stuff.
it doesn't matter. And it's the same with New Year's, right? So New Year's is also, when I go to Miami, where all my family lives now, you know, I know that New Year's Eve will start at 11 o'clock at night, and it's with breakfast included.
Yes.
So when I've taken American friends, when I've taken, you know, friends with another tradition, and they want to do something during Christmas Eve day, like they want to go golfing or they want to go, no, you got to rest.
Yeah.
It's the day to take the nap, and it's the day to rest, because we're going to spend the entire night dancing and talking and, you know, telling jokes and whatever, and we're going to have breakfast. And it's hard to imagine
well,
that was going to happen.
Well, I think also, in how I grew up, we stayed with the family till like 1 o'clock. And then at 1, we would go to our friend's house, and that would be a different party.
Yeah.
But we were respected. We stayed with the family at 1
Yeah.
o'clock, and then some friend would have a big party,
Yeah.
and we would go there. And this was always in Mexico. It was never where I grew up in New Mexico, because those were not the traditions of
No.
Mexico,
Yeah.
of familia and that culture and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this has been exciting talking about the traditions, but we're going to take another quick break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back and talk about the food, all the different delicious foods that we share. We're going to bring some examples, and that we can share with you about Colombia and the traditional food. We'll be right back.